Our next speaker, a favorite of Innovative Dealer Summit, we've invited him back many times, is Todd Smith. Todd is co-founder and president of ActivEngage, the automotive industry's leading live chat service provider. Todd has spent the last 20 years in the automotive industry and has worked in every facet of dealership operations in numerous roles, including general manager. He has developed cutting-edge e-business, business development center, and showroom sales solutions for a variety of clients, including Ford, Ford of Canada A, AutoNation, Budget Car Sales, Merritt's Inc., Mazda North America, Toyota Motor Sales, ADP, and Autotrader.com. He is a frequent speaker at national industry conferences and a regular contributor to industry trade journals. A quick search online turned up the following photos. Here we see Todd, all right, looking good. He's got a fan. Todd's mom's here. Here we see, what do you think, beard or no beard? Beard, okay, all right, we're gonna take a poll later, beard or no beard. Here we see Todd administering the first swimming lesson to his child. That didn't go well. Then we see Todd. This is in 2010. He's a proud papa. And Todd told me that fatherhood took its toll on him. Here we see him in 2011. All right. We were talking last night, and Todd told me, he said, have you heard? I'm very concerned. I said, about what? And he goes, they're feeding marijuana to cows. I said, well, what do you think about that? He goes, I'm opposed. The stakes are just too high. Please give a warm Innovative Dealer Summit welcome to Todd Smith.
Dude, you always make me laugh.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Green button?
The big green button.
Okay, big green button. Thank you for that introduction, Mike. That was always wonderful. Tim, it's always great to be here. I will not run over for you, David Kane. I will warm up the audience as usual. Please make sure that check doesn't bounce like last year. So, today I get to talk about something I'm pretty excited always about. And last year, I think if anyone was here last year, yes? So last year I did life hacks, right? I created 20-some ways to kind of hack your life. And I always find when you're a parent and you run a business and you don't have a lot of time, how can you be more efficient? And that's always sticks in my mind. And one of the things over the last year, I started to really understanding what makes us go, and that's our habits. So to me, habits are that super driver for us. Let's see if this will work. And if we look forward and past, Gandhi knew it was habits. I think goes all the way back in time that habits are such the critical point to determine if you're going to be successful or you're going to determine to be pretty unhappy in life. So I looked at life and I looked at all my daily life, and we're really just a sum of our habits. We can post all the stuff we want on the internet, but the true reality is what we do every single day and all those little micro actions we take determine really who we are. So I started to dive into this to say, well, if that's who I am, how can I tweak that to make my habits better? How can I improve things? So I'll share with you some tips of what I've learned. The first thing I did learn was motivation is bullshit. So this was the number one thing I learned on my journey over the course of the year. And I kind of looked back and I said, wow, motivation isn't enough to carry us very far. If motivation was all that it took to be successful, there would not be an almost 90% washout rate in the Navy SEAL school. The true reality. What happens is you can be as motivated as you want, and I will tell you, every person going through that class is motivated. They take all the prerequisites, they do all the additional training, they go through everything to get that opportunity and slot, yet 80 to 90% wash out. Why? It's not motivation, it's their habits, it's all the additional things that go into it. Motivation is nothing to me but a multi-billion-dollar business that gets you excited about things, yet you go home and you don't have the right habits in place to actually execute upon it. So as I looked forward, I had to really start to understand habits, and they're pretty simple. They're in a quick loop. There's always a trigger, And that trigger could be anything, like a stressing moment. It could be the phone ringing. And what do? You pick it up, right? So that's the routine. And then you get your reward. Someone's on the other end of the line and you have a great conversation. Whatever those things are. Habits are very simple once you break them down. The reality is, how do you learn to have better ones and control them? And that's what we'll talk about. So the one thing, though, that kind of always stuck too was, what's stopping us, right? What is the true number one habit that limits us from achieving all of our potentials? Because I think that's the most important thing that I try to instill with my son and everybody who works at my company and every person I come in touch with is, how can you be the best version of you? You don't need to be the best version of somebody else or someone else you've seen. You need to become the best version of who you are. And I looked at this and I did a lot of research on this, and it was interesting to find out the number one habit that stops us, it's hesitation. And we've all had this in this moment. Have you ever been in a meeting or some event and you're there and they ask a question and you know the answer and you have that little hesitation that you don't respond and you just stop, you kind of freeze. Has anyone ever had this happen to them? Yes, probably a few times. Interesting enough, this is something that's innate in us, and it goes back as a protective measure to protect us. When your brain says, uh-oh, I don't want to put out this information, or I don't want to risk, instantly our brain goes, uh-oh, let's not risk. We're going to actually pull back and we're going to protect us. Because remember, our brain is designed to protect us. We did not get here today as a species by not protecting us. The survival of the fittest is a very true thing. So the interesting thing about that is as you evolve it and you hesitate, then you start spotlighting upon it. And it gets even worse that you pull back and say you don't want to actually push out or risk anything to go farther into the world. And it's very interesting, it's on all of us, but we can learn to control it. And that's a powerful thing. Those moments when you're going to hesitate, that's where you almost want to stop and snap and actually just go ahead and take the action. For me, it was a little different. My first time, I can actually remember a super hesitating moment. I was in Tahiti at a surf break called Chopo. It's probably one of the most dangerous breaks in the world. It breaks anywhere from small 8 feet to 15, 20 feet on giant days. It breaks on a very shallow, sub 6 foot reef that's razor sharp, very deadly. Guys get killed there a lot. Guys get very injured there, broken backs, bad lacerations, so it's a very tough spot. Interesting enough, for me, that was that hesitation point, and what I learned from there is my secret sauce. I learned in one day paddling out and sitting in the water and saying, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to actually drop in on this wave. Another Tahitian guy, a friend of mine, paddled out and said, look, you have to decide what you want to be and what you're going to do. And then, once you have that decision made, you have to believe in yourself and take the next step. Take this small step. He goes, you'll drop in on this wave, it breaks identical every single time to the left. You're going to drop in very straight and hard, and you're going to turn, and the water's just going to suck over you in a perfect barrel, and you'll stand up, and you'll get shot out. And I said, that seems very scary. But interesting enough, I dropped in, and it was exactly how he said. And to me, this is what resonated the most, was you have to find that thing you're going to chase, that passion, and then you're going to have to take the small steps to get you there. And that's how you do it by finding your existing anchors. These are those habits you have. There's two types of habits. They're the habits that you do every single day. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you probably go to the bathroom, you do all these fundamental things. You get dressed, you get in your car, you kiss your wife, your kids goodbye, you get on the phone, all these little things. And then there's habits, that normal daily occurrences that happen to you. Oh, you're always going to stop at this one red light, you always stop to get donuts, whatever those things are. You can use those existing habits to build new, better habits. You can never really get rid of old bad habits, but you can kind of pull it out and insert a good habit in its place. but you have to use your existing habits. And so what I always suggest to do, and what I did, is I actually sat down and for a week, I wrote down everything I did every single day. And from that, I was able to determine things I did all the time, and I was able to build other new habits off of them. You know, I wanted to continue to learn, so now I listen to podcasts on my way to work instead of talking on the phone. All these little things, I've inserted new habits in my 20-minute drive that I get to listen to new kind of creative things. The other thing you can do is kind of what I call more of an algorithm planning. It's a if-then planning, and I kind of took this from computers. So if you're going to eat, then this will happen. So for me, if I'm going to eat, then I will eat steak and broccoli for lunch, or whatever it is. By having these replacements in our mind and using these types of words, odds are you're much more likely to actually stick to your habits as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about words as we go. And stacking habits, building one habit off another. Anyone not floss in here every single day? You don't want to raise your hand, do you? Okay, well, how many of you would like to floss every single day? Everyone says yes, come on, otherwise I'll call all your dentists, right? Well, of course, though, your dentist will probably be less busy, so maybe they'll say no, tell them not to floss. But the interesting stuff for flossing, an interesting story that you can learn to floss. Everyone brushes their teeth in the morning, right? Yes. So, and everyone brushes their teeth probably before they go to bed. So a lot of people don't remember to floss. So the easiest thing to do is stick floss right next to your toothbrush. Literally right next to it. And if you're super freaking lazy, pull them all out and rip them off and put them in a little bowl that you don't even have to flip the stupid thing up and pull it out and cut it. Make them pre-cut. This will allow you to achieve that habit of flossing because you'll reach for your toothbrush and you'll go, shit, I gotta floss too. It's that easy. It's these little replacement pieces that allow you to stack habits one on top of another. And through time, it's amazing what you can accomplish. Whether you're trying to increase efficiency in your life, productivity, whether you're trying to be a better parent, whether you're trying to be a better spouse, whether you're trying to be a better father, whatever it is, you can stack these habits one on top of another. But you will need to determine the one most important habit in your life. It's called a keystone habit. For me, it's exercise. If I exercise, everything runs right in my system, meaning I eat better, I feel better, I have more energy, all these things connect. For every person, it's different. The keystone is that main habit that every other habit will be driven off of. And it won't take you long, it may take you a couple weeks to figure it out, but once you figure it out, that's the habit you want to kind of build off of. So to me, keystone habit is probably one of the most important ones. Another one, we all set deadlines, right? We all try to achieve our deadlines. But the true reality when it comes to habits, deadlines cause us a lot of panic a lot of times. And especially when we don't hit our deadlines, we feel like crap and losers that we didn't achieve our goals. The true reality for you to achieve your goals, you have to have habits, and it's better to have a schedule of what you're going to do every single day on the journey to the outcome. So yes, you can set goals, but it's much more important to establish the schedule to get you to the goal than the actual goal itself. The goal itself, that's irrelevant to me. I mean, it's important, but not as important as the steps I'm going to have to do every single day. That schedule will determine outcome. I see it over and over again, not only in my own life, but all the people I've researched about habits. This is one of the most important factors, yet one of the most overlooked factors for success. And the other thing was true to staying on schedule. A lot of times, maybe on a normal day, you go out like this morning, it was kind of snowy, right? Now, I probably wouldn't want to go running on a normal snowy morning. I would have said, nah, I'll just pass. I don't have time or whatever. But the true reality is I did go for a run this morning and it was nice and cold. And I live in Orlando, so it was a little tough. But I ran in shorts and a t-shirt, which made it even harder. But the interesting thing I learned was staying on schedule no matter what, even if you can't do the full workout or whatever I was going to do. So little tricks of the trade and what I've definitely learned over the last year. If I was too busy at work and I'm not going to make a workout, when I come home, I'll sit there. If I turn on the news or TV, if a commercial comes on, I'm like a freak. I drop down and do burpees, push-ups, sit-ups. I even have my 7-year-old doing sit-ups and push-ups with me now during commercial breaks, during cartoons, which is hilarious. But the interesting thing has happened because of this. It's these cumulative impact of my life by at least doing something. You know, I learned this from actually Jerry Seinfeld. When he would write, he had a problem that he hated writing. So what he did is he put a calendar up, and every day he wrote, he put a red X on the calendar. And then he'd look back during the month and go, how many red X's? And then the mental goal inside our head goes, wow, I want more X's. So through time, he literally willed himself to be able to write every single day. That's what helped make him who he was. These small little things over and over again. So to me, it's these tiny little routines. If you can put them into play, they can have major impact. So the goal is great, but what you're doing every single day with your habits is much more important. So I kind of look at these as lifestyle changes versus transformation. We all watch television, and we all see The Greatest Loser, and people lose 500 pounds or whatever the hell they go through. And that's crazy. None of us really know what they really have gone through to get there. To me, it's more of a lifestyle change. Okay, instead of saying I want to lose 50 pounds, maybe it's, hey, I'm going to drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's going to have a big impact on your life, just that alone. Or, hey, I'm going to publish and write a book this year. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to instead call a, publisher once a day for the next year so I can build my network of potential suitors for the book I'm going to write. Small changes have a great impact over time. And a lot of times we don't think about it that way. And we should really look at our lives as small little incremental bumps to get us where we need to go. Word choice. This was kind of crazy. So they put 3 groups of people, 100 people per group. And their goal over the next 60 days were they were going to exercise. And then they would measure if they achieved their goals. The one group, they said, okay, when something gets in the way of you achieving your exercise plan for the day, you just say no. No, I can't do it. The other group, you say, I can't do that. And the final group, they said, I don't do that. Now, interesting. Fast forward after the 60 days, they ran the numbers. The people who said no, 30% achieved their goal. They said no, so they had a little willpower. The people who said I can't, 10%. And the people who said I don't, 80% achieved their goals. How is that possible? And it was very interesting. The research said, because when you say I can't, you're really saying in your mind, I want to freaking do it, but I can't do it. But I'm going to be able to do it one day. And we were actually psyching ourselves out by saying I can't. So I don't is when that resonates to our core, we're like, I don't do that. I don't drink. It's not I can't drink, it's I don't drink. So it's very interesting. Word choices can have a powerful impact on our habits and our ability to achieve our habits. So quick homework. Easy. I like to make quick homework, and I'm definitely staying on time for Mr. David Kane. Pick something you want to change, a new habit, or maybe you want to replace a bad habit with a better habit. Very simple to do this. You just need to pick the one habit you'd like to change, and you need to find a replacement. So something you're doing around that habit all the time can absolutely pull one out and put one in. So to me, I think it's very easy that you just can't say no to something like that. And you have to commit to 66 days. When people say, oh, habits take 30 days, it's not true. It takes longer. Usually 66, it can take 90, it can take a lot longer until your brain actually gets to the point where without a doubt you don't think about it anymore and you're able to unconsciously just deliver into the results of those habits. So to me, very simple, keep a very easy process, and you can have an unbelievably profound effect on your life. So very simple, I leave my stuff up here. You can always tweet me on Twitter, Todd Smith. Put all my information there. I'm always sending out stuff on there. To me, it's a very simple way to communicate and very easy. I thank you. Hopefully this was useful information for you guys. Yes? Awesome.
Give it up for Todd Smith. Thank you, Todd. Some incredibly useful information. You'll notice on your Innovative Dealer Summit action plan in triplicate, down at the bottom, you can write your I will statement. Maybe you take the challenge that Todd gave you. And then it says at the bottom, it says you can dramatically improve your success rate by adding a simple first step. Right? So here's the action item. Here's the very first thing that I'm going to do. If we're going to change something, if we're going to do something, what is that tiny little first step that I need to take to make that happen?